with a glass in my hand. I watch the sunset paint this tired land. It used to be hard work brought home the bread. Now folks just sit and let the dreams go dead. Oh, we're drifting away from what's real, lost in the noise of how it feels. What this world needs is a little more grit to stand up tall and fight for it. Too many missing chromosomes can't find their way home, while blue-haired shadows dance in the twilight gloom. Yeah, we're longing for reason in a sea of doubt. Let's bring back the heart and figure it out. Remember when laughter rang loud through these fields? Now we're lost in opinions like we've got no shields. Folks used to sweat under that old sun's glow. Now they're glued to screens where kindness won't grow. Oh, yearning for days when truth was gold, not wrapped in confusion or stories we told. What this world needs is a little more grit to stand up tall and fight for it. Too many missing chromosomes can't find their way home, while blue-haired shadows dance in the twilight gloom. Yeah, we're longing for reason in a sea of doubt. Let's bring back the heart and figure it out. Your mask and step into light. We all bleed red when we fight for what's right. Let's build bridges instead of walls, find common ground where love never falls. What this world needs is a little more grit to stand up tall and fight for it. Too many missing chromosomes can't find their way home, while blue-haired shadows dance in the twilight gloom. Yeah, we're longing for reason in a sea of doubt. Let's bring back the heart and figure it out. So raise your voice if you feel like I do. Together we'll make our dreams come true. In every heartbeat lies hope anew. What this world needs starts with me and you. So take off your mask and step into light. We all bleed red when we fight for what's right. Let's build bridges instead of walls, find common ground where love never falls.
Welcome to another Super Gringo Podcast. Just so you know, there's going to be about a 60-minute lag because I increased that. So if there is a technical problem, thank you, Brazil. My production manager is taking her spot. I have a little more time to correct the problem. Tonight we're going to be talking about what I did not read all the 80,000 pages. Just some things that I've gleaned out of what I've looked at that I have some expertise in. And what else are we going to be talking about? Oh yeah, the loony left, trying to equate them setting fire to shit as protest or boycotts. My new book, I'm going to give you a rundown of what's in that, and some upcoming projects as well. Let me see. Oh, the loony left calling me stupid. A book about executive protection. And, just some general, hopefully somebody comes in so we have some discussion. That's the whole point of this, is discussion, not. I even invited, I send links out to the loony leftist sites so they know I'm here, but they never show up because, well, they're loony leftists. And they don't want to come over here and be humiliated. Well, I don't think they really know that they're being humiliated until they hear,
"Fuck all Pastor Deerstand!"
Then I think they know they're being humiliated, right? I need to get another cold snack, so I'll be right back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Cool, I'm back. I see we have two people in. Again, wait 60 seconds because I put a pretty big buffer in there in case something happens with Brazilian internet again. So I have a full 60 seconds to correct it. Before I had like 10. So if you say something in chat, give it 60 seconds and your comment will come up. Hopefully it will smooth the operation. But yeah, got two in here. That could be my wife. She's at work, but that doesn't mean she couldn't turn her phone on. Be nice if people said hi when they showed up. Hold on. There we go. I just typed them out. Hopefully I didn't turn off anything. So, the documents, the RFK documents dropped. 80,000 pages. Hold on. Wow. Old timer. But the documents dropped 80,000 pages, and that's not all of them. I honestly don't believe we'll get all of them. I think a lot of them were destroyed by the FBI and CIA and other alphabet agencies that were involved. And I'm going to say yes, the CIA, FBI, they were all involved. And I don't believe he may have been the patsy that they used. They may have got him to get up in that position there so they could. But he did shoot a police officer after the JFK. But that's a whole nother case as far as I'm concerned. But let's look at the evidence from my perspective. I was a shooter, okay? I was a sniper in the military, so I kind of understand it. He couldn't have made that shot from... Okay, first of all, there are reports in those 80,000 documents that he couldn't shoot for shit, okay? There were CIA and KGB documents stating that Oswald couldn't shoot on the range, let alone from the 6th floor of a frickin' building and 80 meters. Now you guys think, oh, 80 meters, that's not that far. It is from the 6th floor because now you're talking trigonometry, okay? That's anything over a 15-degree angle. You've got to do some trigonometry to account for that, or you're going to screw up the range. He's also shooting at a moving target. So that Another point that was made in those documents that he was under surveillance. When was he practicing shooting for this assassination? That they didn't see it if he was under surveillance. They didn't know he was training. Again, he was trained by the KGB, which begs another question. Why was he allowed back into the United States to commit the assassination in the first place? That's why I say the CIA and FBI and other agencies are most likely involved. Well, let me clear up the 80-meter, 6-story building thing. My book, yeah, I was a long-range shooter. Oh, my wife stuck something in here. All right, here we go. Any gun that is sighted in on a flat range will shoot high if shot uphill or downhill. The force of gravity works perpendicular to the horizontal or the horizon. When a bullet is fired at an angle, its horizontal distance is less, so it spends less time being affected by gravitational forces. At close ranges or angles below 15 meters, the bullet drop distance changes very. However, at long range and steep angles, I think 80 meters at 6 stories is pretty frickin' steep, don't you? The angles change, the point of impact is significant. I wish I could get to that building and set it up. That's pretty steep, six stories. Now, do I believe the shooter shot from that building? Yes. But there ain't no frickin' way he was on the 6th floor. Well, he could have been on the 6th floor, but he would be in a different window, 1. 2, he would be a professional because he would know the trigonometry. Signs. For those of you who are into trig, signs. You know, you got the distance of your target, height, weight, all that stuff, or height, width, all that stuff. And then you input the distance based on the mil.dot reticles, or known distance. Whoever shot him could have measured it out ahead of time of where he wanted to put that shot. There was forensic evidence in those 80,000 documents too, from the Dallas Police Department. There was no gunpowder residue on Lee Harvey Oswald when they picked him up. Excuse me. And if you're working a bolt action in 3 shots in 8 seconds, you're going to have powder residue on your hands. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And your clothes. Because as you open it, it's going to be throwing smoke back on your face, your clothes, everything. You also need to practice to make that shot. That's not a cold bore shot you can make. You have to practice the angles, the wind conditions. You have to shoot in those wind conditions. He got a headshot on a moving target in a 6-story building at 80 meters. No. He would have put together a dope data sheet because you need that information if you're going to dial that stuff in, right? 6-story building over a 15-degree angle, which is pretty steep. So you're going to need to know that the cosine or sine to input to get the range and distance in. Even if you pre-plot it, you're going to need that information. He would have written that down somewhere. He got off 3 shots in 8 seconds. No. And got a headshot. No. He also picked the worst rifle you could buy. It was so bad that the Italian military didn't even use it. It was the 6.5 by 52 millimeter Italian Carcano model 9138. Junk. Now, if he had It's that German rifle. The Mauser, I could go, oh yeah, you could probably do it with that action's so smooth. I've actually got to work on one Mauser, and that was a South American Mauser. It wasn't even an original. It was made under license, and the action is so smooth on that. No wonder the Germans liked it. But the worst rifle he could have picked, even the Italians didn't use it. They wouldn't even bother putting a scope on it. It cost $36 in 1962, 63. $36 you could have bought that rifle. He also picked the worst round for its ballistic coefficient. 6.5 by 52 has a ballistic coefficient of 0.413. Now that doesn't sound like much to you guys out there who don't know how to shoot. You're trying to get as close to 0.5 as possible. 0.3 is garbage. Now I did look up. Hornady does have a Carcano 6.5 by 52 that will get you up to 0.418, but still that's garbage. That's match grade too. Why would you make a match grade for a Carcano? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's the ballistic coefficient. So a professional would have picked a better ballistic coefficient, which they did. I will guarantee you. That was a professional shooter that pulled that off. They may have actually used a Carcano that they set up differently, but I didn't check. I should have checked to see if they actually did a ballistics test on the bullets. As far as, but it was pretty. That type of forensic investigation was in its infancy back then. The FBI didn't have the database, and the FBI has a database now where you can send in a bullet, and it will tell you which rifle it came from. The type of rifle, even the metal that it's made out of. So no, I don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK at all. I think he was put there as a patsy, but I don't believe he shot. He was just there. Maybe just sitting up there. Maybe they shot before he was going to. You're going to shoot when he's at this distance, and they shot before. But that was a professional hit. That was not some idiot that can't shoot. There were some indications that he was working for not only the KGB but the CIA. Again, I asked the question, why was he allowed back in the United States? Kind of confused by that. If he's working for the enemy at the time, it was the Cold War. But yeah, that's what I took away from those 80,000 pages. Yeah, there's no way he made that shot, because I couldn't make that shot, not with that rifle. Well, I could make that shot, but after I did some calculations and set it up properly, yeah, I could make that shot, even with that rifle. But it would take some time on the range and some work ahead of time to prepare. Also, I sure as hell wouldn't use stock ammunition for that rifle. I'd be using maybe shit I reloaded myself. But that's what I took away from the documents I've seen so far. I do want to dive into them more, but I'm just looking at the stuff I know about. I know how to shoot. Yes, and next we have the Democrats trying to equate setting fire to shit, as usual, mostly peaceful. Remember that one, right? setting fire to Tesla dealerships, charging stations, and cars as peaceful or what do they call it? A boycott. If you go over on Threads, a lot of you should go over on Threads because you can dictate individually who can and cannot comment on your posts. I have one that's open, that they're allowed to just babble. I like that. But yes, they're trying to equate burning a Tesla dealership and shooting at a dealership as boycotting. However, we have to keep in mind, this is not the first time for the left. Remember, they're the founders of the KKK. 5,000 lynchings between 1865 to 1955. They're the founders of BLM. $2 billion in damage and more than 25 people dead. And they're trying to equate, Trump says protesting Tesla is terrorism. No, just don't fucking buy one. You're free to protest. Matter of fact, it's your right to protest. But it's not your right to set shit on fire and in that, on the set shit on fire thing, we have some good news. One of the idiots did set himself on fire. Now, I'm all for protest, right? You hold your signs, you let people know your message. Maybe it'll get people thinking. That's why I write my books. My books are my protest, right? But you don't block the road, because I ain't stopping. You don't get violent. You don't impede other people's rights. Their rights are the same as yours: life, liberty, and property. That's in one of my books. You might want to read one, you loony leftist. You might not be so stupid. Someone else just came in. But yeah, they're trying to equate, which that's the loony left for you. They're attempting to justify their behavior. Well, Trump is Hitler. Well, if he were Hitler, he would just take you out and shoot you. That's what Hitler did. Excuse me. Trump is talking about sending them to the prison with the illegals. I ain't got a problem with that. If you're not going to act like an American, go act like something else. Got a new book out. It's on the foundational principles of the founding. Most of this stuff, if you get the chance, Hillsdale gives out free courses. Go take them, okay? You learn stuff. They're very Hillsdale is probably better than Yale, if you want my opinion. Not because, but because there's no indoctrination. They'll tell you what they've read, and then you make up your mind. I've taken so many courses on there that actually most people don't know shit about the Constitution. I do, because I went there. Well, that, and I actually read the frickin' Constitution. That's another thing you ought to do. Maybe I'll put the Constitution in a little book, audio book, so people can listen to it. Because obviously, well, thanks to the Department of Education, 1 in 4 of you cannot read at your age level. So a new book talks about the foundational principles of the founding, which equality, natural rights, and the role of virtue in governance, which I don't really see anymore. Of course, we also, in the book, I have to talk about the contentious issues, which is slavery, and how natural law went against slavery, which the founders actually tried to gradually get rid of slavery because you couldn't just do it all at once or the entire country would have collapsed. Also, 2 states wouldn't have ratified the Constitution. So, equality among individuals. Then I explain that's the introduction. Then I explain each core concept like natural rights, role of the consent and governance, because you have to give your permission to be governed, don't you? That's what these idiots don't figure out that are setting fire to shit. You already gave your consent to be governed just by being here. You're breaking the law, violating other people's rights to life, liberty, and property. So guess what? We're going to take your life, maybe, liberty, definitely, and property, you don't have any because you're a leftist. And then in the book, I talk about the challenges to individual rights, modern day, like domestic policy issues. For instance, when the COVID came around, right? Lockdowns and all that stuff. Yeah, no, that was, if it worked, if it were well thought out, if it was successful, we wouldn't be talking about this now, would we? My production manager's rolling over. Foreign policy. Why are we involved in everybody else's wars? And I posted something on Instagram. Why is it every time Europe has a freaking hissy fit, America gets drawn into it? It had nothing to do with it. If Canada invades tomorrow, I'll come back to the States and fight them off. But I ain't going to fucking Ukraine to go fight. And neither are there people telling you online, you need to support Ukraine. Really, are you packing right now, motherfucker? No, you want to take my money and send someone else's sons to go fucking fight for a country that has nothing to do with them. Societal roles and economic principles. Which, by the way, the founders were not libertarians. They did believe that the government should control certain economic principles. For instance, Elon Musk would not like Thomas Jefferson because he would have broken up. Like he would not be in government right now. Let's just say there wouldn't be government contracts. He could still do a SpaceX, but he'd be paying for it, not the government. Which I'm all good with. I don't think Elon Musk would give a shit, really. He'll just charge you for a ticket to go to fucking Mars. That's all he'll do. Now, then there's a section called Relevance of the Foundational Principles Today. The moral changes, we don't have any. Not anymore. There aren't none. If somebody could tell me what moral they have, the loony left can't tell me a moral. They can tell me how they feel at the moment. I feel like a woman. That's not a moral, stupid. That's a mental illness. And then at the end of the book, I go into how we need to reclaim our foundational ideals. We've let bureaucracy, it's the 4th branch of government now. As a matter of fact, they do the job of the Congress and the executive branch because they pass laws called regulations and then they enforce them. Why does the FDA have a fucking SWAT team? Hey, my production manager is trying to get comfortable. Why does the FDA, EPA, all these non-law enforcement branches, bureaucracies, have SWAT teams? They don't have authority to enforce law. They don't have authority to make law. Their job when they were formed was to advise Congress and the President. That was it. So we need to get back to what the founders said. Congress makes laws, the President enforces them. and the Supreme Court interprets them. Just like which I don't give a fuck about same-sex marriage either way. I don't think government should be involved in marriage anyway. That's a contract between two people. Go down to a lawyer and tell the lawyer to write up a contract that you're going to give half your shit to another person and they're going to give half their shit to you. Congratulations, you're fucking married. Same difference. That's how Brazil. If you look at my marriage license in Brazil, it's a fucking contract. And they have options too. Like if we separate, she only gets my name. She can keep my name. She don't get none of my money or property. It's like a prenup. Oh, what the hell was I going to talk about? Oh, that lab leak. I'll take. Give me a second, because I want to finish. Do you mind? My production manager's got her paw on my mouse, moving my mouse around, trying to sleep. Well, she's not sleeping, but hey, what are you doing? I wish I could turn the computer. It's kind of funny. We lost her for a couple days. My wife was crying her eyes out, and she's not an animal person. She just likes her attitude. She's got the attitude like cats have, feed me. You can pet me once in a while, but if you pet me too much, I'm going to bite you. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the lab leak. I just want a couple drinks, that's all. Now everybody remembers the last, 4 or 5 years? They were actually denying it up till months ago, that it was a lab leak. What was the story? I think they said the story was like somebody ate a frickin' bat. Are you retarded? That didn't even make sense to me. And I'm pretty much open to anything, right? But I guess German intelligence, this is from, I think it was CNN, no, BBC, hid the fact that it was a lab leak, that one of the first, what they call patient 1, worked at the lab and lived next to the lab. So it was a lab leak. So they hid it. Why? Don't know, other than maybe they have a deal, they were getting money from China, like most government, bigwigs are getting, like Biden. I just want to put this out there as, because people haven't put 2 and 2 frickin' together yet. Gain of function research is just a fancy way of saying making a weapon of mass destruction. That's all they're doing. Biological warfare, which, by the way, is banned in the United States, but it's not banned in China. Guess who got big checks from China? Is it connected? By the way, isn't Fauci the richest doctor who ever worked for the government? Wonder how that happens too, That's like a 5-figure-a-year job, just working for the government. It's not like $1 million job. The president only makes $500,000 a year. But somebody want to comment on any of these stories, feel free. I would love to have a loony leftist tell me why they're not mad at Biden for selling out our country. But they'll come over here and, they won't even come over here. They'll just sit there and stare. Joe Biden.
complete lying prick.
Pretty much. Everything that came out of his mouth. And I did a video. It took me I stopped after 3 hours. Literally 3 hours I stopped. Of just pointing out all the lies he's told. The Purple Hearts, the frickin' inflation, all that stuff. I literally had to stop.
Hospital tested, clinically proven bullshit.
And nobody, they make up, they don't give facts to back up their stuff, any numbers or anything. But Biden had the greatest economy. Trump screwed up Biden's economy. Well, you can't really screw up shit. Sorry, folks. But you want to get off my computer? Thank you. My production manager. You want to come over here and say hi? Anyway, this guy Hawk. And I haven't actually said anything. I just keep posting links to my books, right? Well, yeah, I have, you know what, I'm going to play you clips. And I was just talking about that book and forgot to play you the teaser or the trailer. Basically, it's a trailer, really. But I made, that book is so influential to me, anyway, because our government is so unique. I even did one in Portuguese, because Brazil is a democracy, a real democracy. The founders, there's my production manager. The founders spoke very ill of democracy. But anyway, I'll play that because I need another beer anyway. And you can listen to the what I wrote. I think I'm a very good writer. I'm not a good speaker. I get hyper, but I think this is a good book.
Chapter 1. The Political Theory of the American Founding. Overview of the Founding. The concept of governance and authority is a pivotal aspect of human societies across history. One popular assertion made in political philosophy is that no individual is born with an inherent right to rule over another. This idea can be traced back to various thinkers, notably Thomas Jefferson, who postulated that just governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed. Let us delve into the philosophical underpinnings of this assertion, analyzing the historical context and discussing its implications in contemporary society. I hope to illustrate that all just forms of governance are founded on the principles of equality, autonomy, and mutual consent, rather than divine right or inherent superiority. The notion that governance should be based on consent rather than birthright can be traced back to Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whose names you will hear throughout this book. Locke argued that individuals possess inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property. He advanced the idea of a social contract, wherein individuals consent to form a government to protect their rights. This idea was revolutionary and laid the groundwork for modern democracies. Rousseau, on the other hand, emphasized the importance of collective will, advocating for a political system where sovereignty resided with the people. His concept of the general will highlights the necessity for government to reflect the desires and needs of its citizens. Both Locke and Rousseau rejected the notion of natural rulers and natural slaves, advocating instead for equality and mutual respect among individuals in political society. Throughout history, many societies have struggled to establish governments based on consent rather than coercion or divine right. The American Revolution serves as a prime example. The Declaration of Independence, authored by Jefferson in 1776, articulates that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. This marked a profound shift from monarchic rule to a government accountable to its citizens. Similarly, the French Revolution in 1789 was fueled by the Enlightenment ideas that emphasized liberty, fraternity, and equality. The revolutionaries sought to dismantle a system that was predicated on hereditary privilege and establish a republic where sovereignty belonged to the people.
Does that sound like
Despite
what we
its
have now?
tumultuous path, the revolution showcased the demand for government based on consent and equality. The principle that no one is born with the right to rule another man has far-reaching implications in the contemporary world. Democratic governance rests upon the foundation of free and fair elections, where individuals have the right to choose their leaders. The growing popularity of participatory democracy highlights the importance of citizen engagement and consent in decision-making processes. Many modern states, including South Africa and India, have adopted democratic systems characterized by multi-party elections, emphasizing the importance of consent in determining leadership. Moreover, international bodies such as the United Nations promote the idea that governments must be grounded in the will of the people, calling for the protection of human rights and democratic governance worldwide. The trend towards recognizing the importance of consent has implications for addressing authoritarian regimes that negate the will of the people. In recent years, numerous movements, such as the Arab Spring, have sought to overthrow oppressive governments, reflecting the universal desire for self-determination and consent-based governance.
I think that was a pretty good book, but I don't believe that's what we have today. We have more what Brazil has, a democracy. The founders spoke ill of democracy because democracy is mob rule. It's rule of the majority. For instance, if I want your bicycle, I just have to get enough people to convince you. I just have to convince enough people to vote to take your bicycle, which is what we have. That's why I wrote this in Portuguese too.
Capítulo 1. A teoria política da Fundação
Você
Americana.
portuguesa, por favor, ouvir.
Visão geral da Fundação. O conceito de governança e autoridade é um aspecto essencial das sociedades humanas ao longo da história. Uma afirmação popular feita na filosofia política é que nenhum indivíduo nasce com um direito inerente de governar outro. Essa ideia pode ser rastreada até vários pensadores, notavelmente Thomas Jefferson, que postulou que governos justos derivam seus poderes do consentimento dos governados. Vamos nos aprofundar nos fundamentos filosóficos dessa afirmação, analisando o contexto histórico e discutindo suas implicações na sociedade contemporânea.
That's enough because most of my audience doesn't speak Portuguese. But our government is or our form of government, the republicanism, small r, is so unique. Brazil is a democracy. Majority rules, right? It's not a representative government. That's why Lula is frickin' president. Well, that and I think maybe Biden had a little hand in it. Since we sent them the chips to build their voting machines. But yes, that's my book on the founding. And I think I'm a pretty good writer. I think I understand politics more than, well, I definitely understand it more than the left. The left thinks, for example, scraping your uterus because you're horrible with your vagina, or controlling your vagina, is a natural right. It's not. It's not even a civil right. What it is a lack of responsibility, which I actually talk about in the book, Civic Responsibility, Responsibility to Your Neighbors. Like just being a low-life piece of shit is, And I'm putting it like I'm not filtering it here. In the book, I filter it because it's a book. You know, you want people to buy it and understand what you're saying. Of course, which brings me to my older book, my book on the radical left, how they were, you and I, like most of the people that listen to Grumpy Farmer, and we would have been liberals, classic liberals, prior to the Great Depression. We would have. Small government, human rights, we would have been classic liberals. And then after the Great Depression, it started to change. And then the 60s and 70s, it changed even more. And then now they're the Nazis, really. They're beyond the Nazis. Because the Nazis could actually keep the trains on time. They can't even do that. But my book on how the left became despotic triggers them, and I don't have to say anything. All they see is the cover and the description, which tells me I hit the nail on the frickin' head. I wrote that book perfectly, and it's actually filtered, because you have to filter a book to sound academic, and that's what I did, and it sounds academic. And it's not actually as harsh as I probably should have written it as far as the despotic left. There are teachers that I see on TikTok that should be facing charges. But also, statistically speaking, 1 in 4, this is why I have to make audiobooks, because 1 in 4 of those loony leftists can't read the ebook that I made. And of that one, I made a paper book. No more paperbacks. I just do ebooks now. Ebooks and audiobooks. That's it. Because it's the 21st century and nobody buys paperbacks anymore and hardcovers, so I found out. Also, it's cheaper. I charge $7.50 for an ebook and an audiobook, compared to we'll say $30 for a hardcover or a paperback. So, and I wanted to talk about Trump's speech. Did I mention it last night? I don't think I did. It's like these loony leftists want to make Republicans without having to have sex and have a baby. Like, they want to make them. You remember when Trump made, he was a terminally ill, I won't say terminal because he's 12 years old now, and it's been 6 years. Hopefully he's in remission. I hope he is. A honorary member of the Secret Service. And the founders of the KKK didn't stand. They didn't clap for a 12-year-old with cancer. Again, just making Republicans out of anyone they fucking come in contact with, except for other brainwashed leftists. Now, he saw that. He saw how they reacted to him. You think he's going to vote Democrat in the future? Do you think? Are you people retarded? Are you leftist retarded? Do we have a leftist in here? I want a leftist to tell me, are you retarded? I might just start sharing this. Yeah, that kind of ticked me off. It really ticked me off about it. It really, before I was kind of indifferent with the loony left. Yeah, fuck around and find out. That was pretty much it. If you come up to me, I'll just knock you down. But now I'm just like, get rid of them all. Take the voting records and draft them all and send them to Ukraine. They seem to be really upset about Ukraine, which everyone that seems to be upset about Ukraine isn't packing or isn't donating money. They're just telling me I should pay for it, and that, weird. I had one block me because I kept asking him, when are you leaving? He was from UK. He's closer than I am. When are you leaving? Well, you need to support Ukraine. No, I don't. I need to support the United States, which I did in Iraq and Afghanistan. When are you leaving for Ukraine? Well, you need to support. No, I don't. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm American. I support America. When are you leaving? You seem to be very upset about Ukraine. You need to pack. That's when I basically just called him a coward. You're a coward. You're virtue signaling. You can't virtue signal me because I stood up for my country. You haven't. For what you say you believe in, if you believe in, go grab a rifle and go fucking fight. Other than that, shut the fuck up. Working on another book now. It just came to me last night while I was doing kata. It's on if Brazilians want to move legally to the U.S., which I'm for legal immigration, aren't you? I'm all for legal. It's the illegal fucks. Mainly, well, what chaps my ass about that is I'm a legal immigrant in Brazil. I paid to be here. I had to pay my... Here, here it is. I have my green card. It's not a green card either. It's not green at all. It's not green. See, this is my green card, right? I had to pay for this. And I'm not going to put it any closer to the camera, but not because of personal information, which it has, because I don't give a fuck if you find me, but holy shit, that picture is bad. But anyway, that's what chaps my ass. I came here legally. Their government would have kicked me out if I hadn't come here legally. So I think the U.S. has the same right, don't you? Really? If you don't think so, you're probably fucking retarded. But anyway, I'm going to start working on another book just for Brazilians. Because my wife has friends that want to move to you, which fine, do it legally. A lot of them are nurses. We need nurses. Thanks to Joe Biden and his fucking vaccine mandate. Way to go, fucktards. But the book's going to cover the laws, customs, and traditions of the United States. My wife says that'd be awesome because she's like, lawyers will buy it, Brazilians will buy it. Nobody buys my other books because it makes them look stupid because they don't know shit. And that's everybody, pretty much. None of you actually really know the founding or what they were trying to do. And it wasn't perfect either. Pretty damn good idea, though. I'm not going to lie. However, we've let idiots take it so far away from what they were trying to do that I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if it's what we have now is anywhere near what the founders were thinking. Also, I'm going to put out a book on executive protection, which I did that job for about 3 years. Yeah, it's not a how-to book. It's just like letting you inside because it's just a look. Because some of you might like the job, prior military, law enforcement. But I want to write the book because it's not a fucking Kevin Costner movie. You're not going to be sleeping with like some fucking singing star. No. You're going to be standing post. You're going to be fucking bored as shit most of the time and filling out reports. Well, yeah. Tried fixing the computer tonight, but my computer's in Portuguese, which the internet seems to be working good tonight. So I'm kind of confused. But anyway, it's Brazil. That's all I can say about the internet and the computer. But I tried to fix it because it was like lagging really bad, and I thought there was just too much shit running in the background. I was right, but you can't turn off the shit you don't need when you can't read it because it's in Portuguese. My Portuguese is good, but it's not computer, fix your fucking computer good. And I came across this quote tonight. Now, it's not in my book, but fascism is the stage reached after communism has proved an illusion. Friedrich August von Hayek. Now, I mentioned him and a gentleman named Mises in my book, The Intellectual Journey, Unraveling the Complexities of Marxist, Communist, and Socialist Thought in the Modern Society, because they told us what was going to happen with communism and socialism. Told us in the right after the communist revolution in Russia, USSR. Nobody fucking listening, and nobody's listening now. We have 100 years of evidence, and you still have fucking morons. Hold on, I'm going to check something. Hopefully. Yes, I told you I'm on a 1 minute delay, so I can also do this stuff and it'll still look fairly smooth. I want to see if, let's see here. Because I've been having loony leftists get upset that I've been sharing my books to this idiot named Hawk, who looks like a fucking 80s Steven Seagal movie fucking villain with his haircut, and he's fucking stupid. Hold on. Just in case they... and I keep getting dumb shits. And then I went over Threads. Now, if you're not on Threads, it's actually better than YouTube or Instagram, because I don't have to blanket block people, or I can do it. I have one place where the loony left is allowed to say anything, and they're very upset. One, it just keeps going, coward. I just sent him a link to this live stream. But yeah, back to the Oswald thing. That didn't even make sense before these documents. Wait a minute, 6-story bolt action rifle, 3 shots, 8 seconds, and a headshot. And he's not, I didn't know about his shooting skill before the documents came out, but even a skilled sniper would be difficult in the prone with no supports, no nothing, making that shot. However, I'm here, and soon I'm going to go over and make phone calls on Facebook and talk to people who actually want to talk to me. Which, let me see here. Yeah. Weird. Nobody has anything to say. Which I honestly don't care. Yeah, I think that Brazilian book. I had one of my wife's friends went there illegally, and that was a fucking yeah. She took her kid, and that was not good for the kid. So if I can help with the book, get people there legally, especially skilled people like nurses. Way to go, Biden, and you loony leftists. And the executive protection, we have security here that drive around and they stop by my house and they give out pamphlets and you pay them and they'll watch your house. But all they can do is make a phone call. Well, they can make a phone call when they see me beating the shit out of the dude that broke into my fucking yard. It makes it simple. So he stops. He was going to give me a flyer, and I was like, no preciso. I don't need. You soldado aposentado. I'm a retired soldier. No, I'm not. Nobody here is allowed to own a gun. The criminals and the police, which sometimes are the same, seem to have no problem getting fucking automatics. However, I did some checking. I can own a firearm here because I'm prior military. I just need to show a reason. Well, I think I have a sufficient reason. I'm a gringo, and I've been people may try to take advantage of a gringo. My father-in-law has been shot 5 times. He showed me the bullets. They're still in his body. Didn't really need to have, but if he says feel the bullet, you feel the bullet, and that's what I did. And yeah, they're still there. After Iraq and Afghanistan, that just like makes me feel uncomfortable. That would be like me sticking my finger in the bullet hole of a guy in Iraq or something. Hey, look at there. That's fucking, But anyway, he's funny. He's got a farm outside of Eric Ames. By the way, did you know I'm actually older than the city I live in? Eric Ames was founded in 1976. I was founded in 1968. So I'm actually older than where I live. One of the idiots on YouTube was like, where I said, we all have equal rights. We just don't have equal abilities. Just keeps proving the point that he has the equal right of speech. He just doesn't have the ability to talk very well. I sent him a link to this. They won't come over because, well, they know I'm smarter than they are, which is kind of defeats the purpose of. No, they could come over here, and if they had rational talking points, things that were backed up by facts. Like, I know Trump isn't perfect. Like his freaking touting the vaccine.